The media has spoken to our coordinators. So Boy Green and James Wudi are coordinating this show around the coordinators, coordinating their talking points to the media. So with all that coordination going on, you need to coordinate yourself in front of your screen, whatever it is, so that you can watch this show. It's about to begin right here, right now. It's Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, right, yeah. Come on in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, jet! Let's go! J-E-T-S, jet! Let's go! There you go, Wudi!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there,
Okay.
baby.
Boy Green
Meets Wudi. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy, James Wudi, and you already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. Right here is the boy who became king. You already know he rocking, he popping, pop locking. All right, he is none other. Oh, hit him with it. Paul Edston Jr. in the building. How you doing, my good sir?
It's excellent. It's great to have content to be going on, of OTA practice going on, Justin Fields speaking, Tanner Engstrand speaking, Steve Wilks, Chris Banjo. This is our first time sort of hearing from the coordinators. So, you know, there's a lot to unpack there, both on Wilks and Engstrand, and obviously Engstrand in particular, because we have been We've been starving out there in the streets for some Jets offense. So when we hear a guy, oh, you're a guy who knew that Ben Johnson guy who was doing some stuff in Detroit with some trick plays and whatnot. Welcome to the family, Tanner Engstrand. Welcome to the family. So all that connective tissue, what juice could be coming to the NYJ? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And, before we dive into that,
Sure.
You know what's going on right here. Come on now. It's a big game.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting to lose game 4. To me, it was arguably their worst performance of the 4 games.
Sure.
Tibbs, he kind of got bullied into extending his rotation, but now he don't know who to play.
Yeah.
People are out there that have never played together before. My boy DeLon Wright picking up a double dribble, which I haven't seen called in the NBA in about 3 or 4 years, which is actually really more of an indictment on the NBA, not really.
That's probably true.
All right.
Yeah.
But come on, Knicks. Come on, man. All right. I'm not ready to have this season end. That's why this hat is white, right? It's not a black hat. There's no funeral out here. Come on now. We got this just one game at a time. It has been done before. 3-1. It's been done,
Sure.
A few times before. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
13. Well, it's time to be number 14.
Boom. So I'm looking forward to it. Game 5 tonight. Knicks, Pacers. Again, I'm not ready for the series to be over yet either as a what's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say casual basketball fan, but I'm more than that, but an outside observer. Yeah, there you go. Neutral basketball fan that's just been enjoying the series. It's been wildly entertaining. So I'm not ready for these WWE storylines of Tyrese Halliburton and old Jalen Brunson meeting in the squared circle there. I'm not ready for any of that to end. So, hey, go New York, go New York, go. And I heard James Wudi made his radio appearance in New York earlier today. Wow, I was listening to the show. You were on with a handsome host. Wow, it was spectacular. Yeah.
Hey, anytime I can lend, my talents somewhere that is looking for analysis, I am here to analyze. And that's exactly what I did. It was a great time talking to my main man. There's whether it's video, audio, it is always an absolute pleasure to talk to the man, the myth, the junior right here.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, we were right here. I'm literally in the same seat I was earlier, but I'm just talking into a different microphone, not this one hanging from above. Instead, the one that I brought with me in the pack. So yeah, baby, it's exciting. So good luck to your New York Knicks tonight, and hopefully the next time we speak next Tuesday, we're talking about an NBA Finals appearance because Game 7 would be the Monday, the day before. So that's interesting how that's all going to work out. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. So yeah, that's a lot of games in between, or potential. Hopefully,
sure.
Let's just not make it one. Come on. It cannot be tonight. A
gentlemanly sweep. Come on, you got to have more dignity and respect than that. The Pacers beat your guys' ass last year. Going to let it happen 2 years in a row? Come on, man.
Calm down. Relax.
Come on now. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And something else I'm looking forward to is all this coordinator talk. And I see a lot of people in our comment section have not heard the coordinator press conferences. So the videos and clips we're going to play will be their first introduction, and fascinating. Again, I cut up a bunch of clips. They're on my Twitter and Instagram. All of them are on my Twitter. A big majority of them are on the Instagram. So Twitter is @BoyGreen25 for the clips. We're going to be playing several of them on the show. And then Woody, me and you are going to react to them. We like what we hear. We don't like what we hear. I think there's a chance for both, depending on some of the clips we're going to play here. But I think we talked before the show, Woody, and the most interesting man in the world is Tanner Engstrand. Steve Wilks, he's been around the block. He's interested, and there is some interesting quotes he said, and some interesting back and forth where he had that with several media members. More on that in a moment. But let's get into Tanner Engstrand, because I think all of us, quite frankly, Woody, have had this question. Tanner Engstrand, first off, what the hell did he do over there in Detroit? And number two, what is the offensive philosophy? What is it going to be with the New York Jets? And that was the first question he was asked off the bat, his offensive philosophy. So, Woody, let's hear what he had to say.
How would you, I mean, this is kind of a general question, but because you haven't been in this role before, describe your offensive philosophy and what you want to kind of bring to the table here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just want to play. We want to play fast, right? We want to be physical. We want to be aggressive. We want to be explosive. We want to be detailed. We want that to show up on tape each and every week. When somebody looks at our tape, we want those things to show up, and that's what we're going to shoot for.
All right, Woody, your reaction to that offensive philosophy for the New York Jets?
Well, it sounds a lot like Aaron Glenn. Physical, fast, right? Those are two words we hear a lot, and detailed. I would definitely say we hear those words a lot. So, first thing I'm going to say is, alignment all throughout. Aaron Glenn says he's a coach. He's a coach, right? Not working with just defense, not working just offense. To me, that's proof that Aaron Glenn has fingerprints on the offense as well, because those are his tenets as well. Beyond that, still fairly general, all right, running the football. Brees has speed. That goes back to your point, when we talked about position battles and Arian Smith, right? Maybe that's something to look forward to, an endorsement of him, because, last time I checked, my guy, Alan Lazard isn't necessarily a burner, even though he did just get engaged or married. I can't remember which one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. No, he was on his knee, so it had to have been engaged. He was on a beach. I saw the picture, so I assume engaged.
Engaged.
That makes sense.
Yes. That's true. He was. Shout out to the Jets posting that.
But yeah, not a shout out to the fans in the comment section who said, "Hey, did he drop the ring? How many times did it take to propose?" Unfortunately, the comment section was a bit savage, if I'm going to be honest. I did take a peek. I grabbed the scuba gear and said, I wonder what people are saying here. Woo! And jumped in and went, oh, geez. I'm like, exactly what I thought it was. Yikes.
Yeah. I didn't even hit the comments. I just, congrats on Lazard. Yeah. Yes, and went to it. But what are you picking up? Are you I know you sipping on that Kool-Aid. So was that quote, something? Did you pick up something that I didn't see from there?
Well, one quote we won't play today because I didn't get a chance to get it out because I knew the show was coming up, so I had to be a little bit select and pick what I thought were the ones I could get to the quickest. And at the end of the presser, they circle back to Tanner twice on Aaron Glenn, like what's it like working under Aaron Glenn? He said, he sets a tone, it's his way, and he explains like his process and things of that nature, which was interesting. But the one that I think factored in the most was, unfortunately, in Jets yesteryear, we've had a lot of head coaches that are one side or the other. It's been mostly defense in the 21st century for the Jets. And whoever the hell's the offensive coordinator is the offensive head coach. Like, hey, go do your own thing. You're over there. We're over here. I trust you to figure it out. And that's basically what a media member asked. How involved is Aaron Glenn in the offense? Do you get to do your own thing, or is he like all over you, basically? And Tanner said right off the bat, hey, man, Aaron Glenn's the head coach. Whatever he says goes. He comes in and says, boom, we're doing some of this. He's like, well, guess we're doing some of this. But he also said that he got the creative liberties from Aaron Glenn to, obviously they talked philosophy before he was hired, and now that he has the trust, he's been given the keys to run the offense. But he said, obviously, we're always going to incorporate what the head coach says in terms of things that he wants included. So that part I love. I love that Tanner Engstrand is not just to his own device, because quite frankly, for Tanner, he's never been an offensive coordinator at this level. Something media reporters brought up to him so many times that he eventually said, guys, all right, I've been an offense coordinator for 9 years. Now, I get it. It's not the NFL level, but I have done this job before. Because a lot of questions were like, well, obviously you've never done this before. Question. Well, obviously you have no idea what you're doing. But, and he just kept, eventually he just said, enough's enough. People, I've done this job. Okay. Now, not at the NFL level, but I've done this job. So I would just say he's saying all the right things. He's hitting all the right notes. And you may say, well, duh, isn't that easy for everyone? I laser point to the John Idzik press conference. I laser point to the Adam Gase press conference where you say, come on, how can you say the wrong things out here? Well, I don't know. The millions of Jets people have come out and said the wrong things all the time. So to hear the message, to hear that it's, to your point, Wudi, great pickup, that it's the same wording, and they're on the same page, at least from a philosophy perspective, it makes a lot of sense. But we're interested to see what all this is, because when they asked him that question, I'm like, I have no idea what he's going to say, because I don't really know a lot about Tanner Engstrand more than Lions people I've spoken with, and they've only been able to share a little piece of it, Wudi.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, that clip was probably the first time I've heard him speak.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to look at the press conference before coming on the show. Didn't even have a chance to do my hair before doing the show. So,
so all of these you're going to hear raw, straight up, these clips?
Wow, I was about to say something else, but yeah, I guess it's raw. Monday night is raw. Yes. So, but yeah. I mean, so far, I completely agree with what you just said. You can say the wrong thing. It's been said, in that building before, but it has not been said by Tanner or Aaron Glenn, to my knowledge, so far.
That's right. This is the first media availability for all of the Jets coordinators here. Another really important piece to this puzzle, Wudi, and something we all asked ourselves is, well, let's start off here. Let's just make sure the audience, who could be new or old, who knows? We've got a couple hundred people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate it. Wudi, you are or are not a fan of Justin Fields?
I'm a fan of Justin Fields.
Okay. Do you believe he is going to be a success, yes or no, with the Jets?
Probably not.
Okay. I wanted to establish that because there's a lot of people that are in your camp. They're like, come on, man. This is third team in 3 years. He stinks. The Louis Riddick clip that I shared out, I think it was yesterday on social media, Louis Riddick retweeted it and did all this other stuff. So he opened himself up to receiving any of the responses to said tweet. And that was a choice. And one of the responses was what I just said. 3 teams in 3 years. He sucks balls. And Louis Riddick went, "Ugh, I hate negative people," which I thought was sort of funny because Louis Riddick is Captain Negative, but I did not bring that up to Louis Riddick. But the point is that there are a lot of people who don't believe that Justin Fields is going to work here with the Jets and that his story is written. Who cares? He's 26. Look at the tape, which takes us to this next clip from Tanner Engstrand. So, Jets, why did you pick Justin Fields? Obviously, you targeted him. You went after him as soon as free agency opened. So, you must have, in your pre-meetings in months leading up to it, not that many months because they were hired on January 22nd and 25th, respectively. So, that's probably a month and a half, I guess, technically speaking, ahead of free agency. But obviously, they targeted Fields, said, this is our guy. And obviously, that must have been Engstrand's guy because Aaron Glenn talked to Engstrand. He's not giving him a random quarterback from the toy chest. It's a guy they targeted. Why did they pick Justin Fields? Tanner Engstrand with a back-to-back. There's 2 questions in here. Interesting.
Why was Justin Fields the right guy to lead what you wanted to?
Yeah, he is just a talented individual on all facets. He's obviously a physically talented player, right? Everybody talks about the running. Well, the guy's got an arm too, and he does a great job with that. And mentally, he's phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal so far, and we expect more out of that. And there's just a lot of things that you can do with that type of player that is going to put stress on a defense and make that defensive coordinator stay up late at night, as we get going into this thing.
Statistically, he showed signs of improvement. I'm talking Fields over the last 6 games last year, and even going toward the end of that last year in Chicago. What did you see specifically over those last 6 to 12 games that said there's something to build with there?
Yeah, it's just growth. Going through his career, just continuing to stack experience along with it, and then ultimately ends up winning 4 games out of the 6. And you just see some of the things that are starting to develop in his game, and then you look at that and you go, "That's pretty good. We can do some things with that." And that's kind of, I think, where it started. And then, of course, all the other things that everybody talks about, that's real. Those things are real, and we're excited to get going with him.
Excited to get going with Justin Fields. What did you make of Tanner Engstrand's explanation for why Justin Fields was the pick of the fruit in free agency?
I'm gonna have to say, if you had asked me why, or if you had asked me to predict what Tanner Engstrand's answer would be, it would be that. I mean, okay, yeah, he's not just legs; he has an arm. Aaron Glenn pretty much said all those things, so they are definitely all in sync. Call them Justin, JC, all right, Lance. They definitely all in sync right now, which is a good thing. Dare I say, almost a great thing, actually, to have everybody, right, singing the same song. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen it, to harp on the record thing. I really don't think, the record. I really don't think that's a big deal to me. Again, TJ Watt. I mean, they literally won 12-7. Has never won a game when the opposing team has scored 21 points, which, I'm just saying, the record thing to me, I don't really love. So I would have loved to hear him say a specific thing about his game. But he kind of didn't. He was just like, all right, yeah, he's not just legs, he's an arm. He's maturing. He's, there's certain things that he's picked up on, which is, of course, something that we're going to say because we believe in him and we want him to feel good about himself. So, to me, that doesn't move the needle, but you love to hear it, that they're going to try to stress opposing defenses. I saw that in one of the comments before we even played that clip. So I was, looking forward to hearing him say it, and we just heard him say it. I mean, that if we can do that, that would be fantastic because ain't nobody been stressed since 2015.
Now, we're going to get to this quote later, but Sauce Gardner, and I believe that is the Sauce Gardner. Let me do a double check on that to make sure. That was the real Sauce Gardner who just retweeted that. So we'll jump into that in a little bit. Just remind me that Sauce Gardner just retweeted one of the Steve Wilks clips I just tweeted out. That's a fascinating repost there from Sauce Gardner. So just bring that up later. We're in the middle of Engstrand. I don't want to get off track, but I get the Sauce Gardner reposted. I'm like, Sauce Gardner. The Sox guy? Oh, yeah. So we got to get back to that later. Oh, baby, that's an interesting one for sure. A few things here. First off, I love when you hear we want to keep defensive coordinators up at night. Ooh, Justin Fields, what are we going to do? How are we going to stop this guy? That's what I'm talking about. You could tell with Tanner that there's palpable excitement. Now, you don't know if the palpable excitement is going to be seen through based on the results of the season, but he seems so friggin' giddy about what they're going to do has me giddy because he knows the answers on the playbook. I don't. So if he's excited, I'm excited by virtue. It's a default excited. It's almost like Wudi, if you and your lovely wife are having a baby, and I'm like, oh my God, Wudi and his wife are having a baby. I'm getting fired up for you. I'm getting fired up for the Tanner Engstrand, Justin Fields action, baby. And that takes us to a question from Red Bean. Maybe a brother of Green Bean, a sister, perhaps. I'm not sure, but neither here nor there. Red Bean is a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Salute. Keep the super chat questions and comments coming. We'll try to work them in to some of the conversation we're having. Red Bean asked this question. Would you rather? Don't we love those? Number one, go 8-9, miss the playoffs, but you're totally convinced that Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback, or 9-8, make the playoffs, smoke and mirrors, unsure about Fields moving forward. Wudi.
I'm not even sure how either of these things would be possible. What is like the smoke and mirror? Like, are we like, did the other teams get hurt or something? Like, what? I don't know how either of those things. If they go 8-9, miss the playoffs, I mean, what would Fields throw for 5,000 yards? And like now we are convinced. How are we convinced that Fields, when the big value in Fields is that he went 4-2 in games that TJ Watt played great.
Okay, so I'll admit the first one of these Red Beans seems incredibly unlikely because if Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback, you made the playoffs. Like, unless it's the Bengals all over again and the Jets defense was so god-awful that your point, Wudi, he threw 5,000 yards and the Jets offense was dropping 40 a game, but their defense was allowing 41 a game. Sure, I guess that is possible, but it seems unlikely. Now, I would say number two, you're like, how the smoke and mirrors, how would we be able to do it? That you see flashes from Justin Fields or like, well, let me reread this. Smoke and mirrors, but you're unsure about Fields moving forward. It's exactly the way they were winning 4-2 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that you're finding creative ways to win because the defense goes back to an elite level and Justin Fields is just sort of mediocre. They're winning games 12-7. They're winning games the way they should have. What was that, 2023? They're winning them that way, but they didn't get enough points, but they're finding a way. I think that's the 9-8. Number one, to me, I'll be honest, that seems hard to believe that Justin Fields could be this franchise quarterback, but we're 8-9. But I could totally see 9-8, which, Wudi, to be honest, if I remember correctly, that was one of your fears, that Justin Fields is just good enough to keep us mediocre, not enough to win championships, and not bad enough to potentially replace him with a top pick. If I remember one of your fears that you mentioned why you didn't want Justin Fields in the first place.
That is so sweet that you remembered, because that is exactly what happened. Yeah, my God, Boy Green, that is exactly my exact thought. So I guess the reason why I was confused is that these are not that different. Like 8 or 9 or 9, like, would I rather give me 9-8 because obviously it ends the playoff drought. Like, I'm trying to end the playoff drought. I don't, really care too much about anything else right now. I need to not be getting clowned for having the longest playoff drought in all of Big Four sports. So, with that being said, give me number two. But yes, that is definitely my fear. That happens, and then you guys, sign up long term for something that you weren't expecting.
So Red Bean, we'll keep an eye out for that. Again, keep all your super chats, comments, and things coming. There's a variety of things we'll work in there. Let's get another one in here. I think this is the right order. So we'll just play this clip and then well react to it. They all.
Well, if I could just address one comment real quick.
Yeah. Oh,
our boy. Badshaw, because I brought up the stat of Fields has won 0 games with when the other team scored 21 points. His response was, "Well, no team's come back from 73-0." But you got to find me where they're scoring 73 points regularly in the NFL. 3 touchdowns, that's super doable. The Jets just won games in that scenario last year, so that is something that happens every year. And quarterback, Josh Allen does it. Aaron Rodgers did it last year for the Jets. It happened. Sam Darnold even did it for the Jets. But Justin Fields has not done it for any of his spots. So while I'm not trying to harp on the bad, that stat is not like is not 73-0. It's just 3 touchdowns. That's all it is.
Fair enough. Actually, before I move on, let's get a super chat in here. Every time we get a super chat, we hear from my data, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
By the way, real quick, if you were speaking of Zariah Luna, if you were listening to my radio show earlier, you heard that I left the house this morning to the radio show. There was a squirrel inside my house and it caused all kinds of craziness. And then my fiance called animal control to get rid of the squirrel. They came in and said, "There's no squirrel here, lady. I think the squirrel left." They leave. Apparently, the squirrel is back now, wreaking havoc in the living room. So they've all fled to the bedroom, and we'll keep you posted on details. So I don't know if I'll have an update tomorrow morning because I won't be back home for another 8 or 9 hours. So we'll see what happens. But
wow, so you just abandon them to just beat up by a squirrel. That's crazy.
Hey, Boy Green meets Wudi. Priorities, baby. Priorities. All right. There we go.
Yes.
EZ, by the way, a member for 10 months. Salute to EZ. Hey, Wudi, are we carpooling or should I get a flight for tailgate week 5?
Hey, easy. I mean, are we taking your car, man? Because I'm not gonna lie, my car cannot survive a 9-state trek. So let's talk about it. If your car, right? You got AC because I know you've been out here in NC right now. Easy, sweat. I literally just actually brought my car to the shop. No joke. On Monday to fix my my AC because it was not good. It was not good. Your boy was sweating. So let's figure out the car situation, and if not, then we just fly up. Fly like an eagle. You know what I'm talking about? To the sea or to NYC. Damn, I should have said that. Can't believe
that would have been smoother.
Missed opportunity.
I'm giving you major props for that, for sure. Badshaw says, though, if you guys do carpool, we need to stream it. Easy meets Wudi. Man, that sounds entertaining to me. Might replace the show, quite frankly. Yeah.
Hey, for real. That would be very nice.
Fingers crossed. Now, I will tell you, Easy and everybody else that's making some of those travel decisions, again, I'll be coming to collect moolah probably this weekend. So keep an eye out if you haven't paid already. I'll probably be coming this weekend for collection for anyone that is buying ticket packages. So stay tuned for that. Keep an eye out for your emails and things. Because the deadline is going to be right around the corner for the New York Jets. So I got to collect it from you guys and immediately hand it over to the New York Jets. So hang on tight for that, everybody. And apparently Rocky the Squirrel is now a new member to the BG family. So thank you very much. Appreciate the commentary on the squirrel. And again, here is a comforting thought. The animal control that came over said, "Don't worry, folks. The squirrel probably doesn't have rabies." And I went, well, that's lovely. So probably not. Now, that's not 100% from what I understand. I don't know if that's one of those hop on pops 0.0% chance of getting rabies or not getting rabies, but we'll circle back to that to see if we can give you any details on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're not nocturnal. Like, if there's like a skunk in your house or something like that, at this time, you definitely got to be, you got to be shook. But I think that's a fair assessment. Like, they most likely do not have rabies.
Well,
but how would they know for sure if they, didn't talk to Rocky? Then
why even bring that up? Like, that's just a weird thing to say. Hey, I know you're pretty worried about this rabid squirrel in your house, but hey, here's a comforting thought. It probably doesn't have rabies.
Because you just used rabid in the sentence. So you could be thinking like, wow, this squirrel is rabid, oh my gosh.
Friendly squirrel. It just broke it into my house. It's a B&E action.
No, but by definition, the word rabid means has rabies. So they're trying to comfort you by saying it most likely doesn't have rabies,
but it could,
because it's not a nocturnal animal. It's a diurnal animal. They probably don't have rabies. He's just trying to get his nut.
Aren't we all? But here's the thing, though. Isn't really everything in life, it's 50-50. It's either going to happen or it doesn't. So it's a 50-50 shot whether the squirrel has rabies. It either does or it doesn't. So it's 50-50.
Just because there's only two options doesn't mean it's 50-50.
It feels 50-50. It feels like
But
it's
it's
one
not.
or the other.
Yes, but again, that's just two options, not 50-50.
Well, what's a third option?
No, there's only two options. One option can be 80%. The other option can be 20%.
I don't know the math, man. Okay,
That's what I'm trying to teach it to you.
I wasn't promised for math. I'm unaware of this, but that's again neither here nor there.
Well, we can tutor you on math, any time. But yeah, that's just two options. Two options is not 50-50. It's just two options. It can be 80-20. It can be 90-10. It can be 95-5.
That's possible. Morning Woody says if Boy Green is filming at the Mount tomorrow morning, then we know that's a dead giveaway. Yo Holmes agrees with Woody saying, Paul, everything in life is not 50-50 BG, but hey, different strokes, different folks. We can agree to disagree.
No, it's actually the laws of math. Like it's probability. It's don't worry. We'll like I said, we will tutor you. Morning Woody, you actually hurt my feelings because you said that you didn't like my pom pom. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Oof.
I like pom poms.
Yeah, it's very.
Let's go.
Very
Let's go Knicks.
Yeah, here we go. All right, let's do this. Let's go to another one.
What do you take from Ben and what you learned from him? Because obviously he's had a pretty good body of work success. And what do you I mean, not giving up any trade secrets, but what are the philosophies or whatever that you bring here?
Yeah, I would say Ben is an elite teacher. And really what you take from that is be clear and concise with the information you're giving to the players and be detailed. Be the most detailed person at your job that you can be and leave no doubt to the players of what their job is. I think that was one of the best things that he did.
Interesting. So I don't know if you guys heard that. So first off, the question was asking about Ben Johnson, who he's been obviously connected to for obvious reasons. And then I don't know if you heard that, Wudi. Let me ask you this, Wudi. What is the best sports movie of all time? Go.
Oh, damn. That's
easy.
No, I mean, for you, it's probably draft day, so I'll go with that.
Well, I guess that could be true. But putting draft day aside, because it's in its own special class, what's the best movie of all time? Sports movie.
There's a lot of good ones. I'll just say my personal favorite. I feel like you can't go wrong with it. Or, I don't care because it's my personal, so I'm going to stand on it. Rocky is my favorite sports movie of all time.
LOL. Anywho, we won't get into that. That's more for your therapist. But the softball I was trying to give you is Remember the Titans. And you just heard that from Tanner.
Is that the best movie? I was gonna say no. Hold on. Because that's a generational thing. Like for our generation, right? We were like 10, it was a good movie. And I did think about that movie. But like then there's it's a really good movie. You gotta. Are we talking about Frosted Flakes now? We're talking about Frosted Flakes. It's great. Okay, but there's so many movies. You said of all time. You didn't say of the 21st century.
Well, of course, of all time, it dealt with some serious racial issues, and it was very progressive, very moving forward. A lot of stuff in there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You keep going with your point.
The reason why I bring it up is that I don't know if you heard Tanner Engstrand slip that in there, but there was a little leave no doubt, a little Coach Bill Yost action. I don't know if he saw Remember the Titans before this presser, but he said, and I love, in all seriousness, though, that I love the message from Ben Johnson. Like, what's the thing you took away from Ben Johnson, who, again, he worked with, obviously, with the Detroit Lions? And to repeat it, just in case you missed it, quote, be clear and concise with the information you're giving the players and be detailed. Be the most detailed person at your job that you can be. Leave no doubt to the players of what their job is. And to be honest, I made a joke here earlier. I don't know when we're going to get to this quote. I think it's from Engstrand. No, it was from Steve Wilks. So we'll get to that later. But like, you would think that last part of that quote I just said should make, like, wouldn't any coach do that, right? Leave no doubt to the players of what their job is. But if you've been a fan of the New York Jets, that is not obvious of saying, hey, this is what you're playing. Like, for instance, Malachi Corley, right? And he's hurt apparently right now, so that sucks for Malachi. But when the Jets traded up for Malachi Corley and tried to trade up even higher, the assumption was, the Jets must have this grandiose plan for how to use Malachi Corley. They're being so aggressive to get this guy. They must have a plan. Boom! Nathaniel Hackett must be like, I know how to use this guy. Which that's always a safe assumption, isn't it? So like that should be assumed. But with Jets coaches of yesteryear, that has not been an assumed thing you could do. So that's the thing I love from Tanner, that one of the number one things he learned from Ben Johnson is being an elite, being an elite teacher. That's what he called Ben Johnson, not calling himself. He said being an elite teacher is Ben Johnson's superpower, basically, and making sure that everyone knows what their job is. And I think that's clear. When you draft, like Arian Smith, what is his role on this team? We're not guessing what the role, we just know what his role is. I think that's an important piece of the puzzle. So I really like that quote. Really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's, the best quote we have reviewed so far in the day. Quick aside, because our guys are going off in the comments.
Of course, naturally.
You know what? I'm gonna have to agree. Rocky is it's a love movie. It's a love movie. It's a love story. As a matter of fact, and as soon as Dirty Coach said it, I was like, damn, you're right. Because I actually just saw the Sylvester Stallone documentary, and he himself was like, it's a love story. That might be why it was like top of mind, because I just saw that documentary within the last 2 weeks. But anyway, that is what it is. Now back to Tanner Engstrand.
Sure.
I'm going to have to double down on what you said about, that not being obvious and paying attention to detail, the attention to detail. When you pay attention to details about your players, it doesn't take 11 weeks to realize that your starting running back can catch footballs, but that's what happened for Nathaniel Hackett. Like, it's not even like a joke. Like, he was out here on record saying, oh, yeah, I didn't know that, he was that useful in the pass game. So Tanner Engstrand paying attention to detail, making it clear what he wants. I think that's huge, actually. Huge for the players, huge for the team. That's why I said I think this is the best quote. Yes, if there was any quote, right, because a big thing about me, and I know everyone's, negative Nancy, Wudi's, the least, positive or looking forward to this season.
100%.
But, I haven't found too many things that tell me that this is not just the same old dance, just, different coaches, different, it's the same thing that we've been getting. But this is one of the strongest pieces of evidence that it's not. That you have an OC who is willing to communicate, or is excited to communicate with as much detail to make it clear so that people aren't confused. Because that's another thing. I can name, Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, Malachi Corley, guys who are like, what's my role? What's going on? But when you have open discussion all the time, you're not going to get people that are like, trade me, we're winning games, but I'm not involved. That's not going to happen. And you never saw that on the defense, really. It was the offense. And that goes to show, okay, this is AG's team. He's on both sides. And for everybody, we're going to speak clearly and make it clear what we are expected from everybody. So that, I think, is a big change.
There's no doubt about it. So that feels a little bit better. Next clip.
Coming from an offense where you have the prototypical pocket passer in Goff, and now you have one of the best running quarterbacks. So how is that a little out of your comfort zone? Like, what kind of transition is that for you to make that adjustment?
Yeah, I think it just opens things up more. That's all. It just adds another layer to what we can do with where we're going on offense.
Tanner Engstrand going from old stationary cinder block feet Jared Goff to dual threat mobility man Justin Fields adds another layer to what he can do on offense. Buy or sell, James Wudi?
I mean, technically, yes, but that's assuming that, Fields can command the pocket, at a similar level to Jared Goff, which sounds like a compliment to Jared Goff, but it's really more of a slight to Justin Fields. That remains to be seen. Can he man a pocket to an adequate or above average level? We don't know.
I guess we don't, which is true. But I will just say that, it is a fair question. Like, sometimes people can't see the facial expressions, right? So Ritsumi is asking the question, is that something you're uncomfortable with? You throw like a lot of things in a question and you just start going, you start shaking his head. Nah, man, I ain't uncomfortable with that. Like I'm super comfortable with that. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if that's the truth. And then here's the last Tanner Engstrand clip, Wudi. Apparently, there's two things here to take out. Tanner Engstrand loves him some Breece Hall, and he reiterated the Aaron Glenn message. We're going to get Garrett Wilson the ball as much as humanly possible in 2025.
What are your thoughts of Breece Hall?
Love him. Love him. Comes to work, works hard, good guy around, good guy around the players, leads by example, talented. I love everything about it.
What can he do in this side? I mean, you have some skilled players. Him,
Oh, yeah.
You got some weapons here. What can they do with Justin?
Specifically, Breece.
Breece, Garrett. I mean, like I said, you have a lot. So
Yeah. Again, that is a blessing, right? To come into a place and already have weapons in place. And Breece, he's shown in his career that he can run the football, whether it's inside between the tackles, whether it's outside, and in the pass game. He's caught a ton of passes in his career, which is very beneficial for us. Garrett has shown to be an explosive player, and we're going to hopefully continue to do that. I know AG talked about, hey, what are we going to do with Garrett? We're going to give him the ball as much as we can. And you know what? I'm in on it. And so I feel really good about that, about those guys.
My number one takeaway, Wudi, is that Tanner Engstrand loves Breece Hall. And you may say, okay, I heard him just say that. Well, if we rewind to the NFL owners meetings, hey, Aaron Glenn, thoughts on Breece Hall? He's like, boy, have you heard about Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis? We're like, huh? That's not what we asked you. This time, how you feel about Breece Hall? I love me some Breece Hall. Wait, we have other running backs on the team? Didn't even mention them, baby. Love with a capital L, baby. L for love. Dodgeball. There you go. L for love and Breece Hall. Gotta love it.
Well, like you said, right? You said if anybody's new to this program, you wanted to establish how I felt about certain players. So let me make it perfectly clear. Breece Hall has been one of my favorite players on this team since he was drafted. He is electric. I have his jersey in this closet behind me on the intro. That's a jersey that I'm repping. When you see me October 5th, watching the Cowboys, that's most likely the jersey I'll be repping. I mean, Breece, I think what, he could have been, he still can be, but he was – that rookie year, my God, he was on a track to be just like his uncle, Roger Craig, who, is one of the earliest dual threat running backs in the history of this game and is a Hall of Famer. But anyway, back to the actual what we're talking about that's relevant to today. Tanner's a fan, and that's great. He talked about Breece. He's all for getting Garrett the football. I think that's what everyone should be about, is getting Garrett Wilson the football. Both of these guys are tremendous, like unbelievable in space. The unfortunate thing about that is that, we've heard that before. We've all, spent a first-round fantasy football pick on Breece or Garrett these last couple of years and haven't really gotten that type of production.
Sure.
So, and for me personally, I did it with both of them. Both of them, I was out here, like in one league, one, the other league, the other. And it was not cool runnings, let me tell you. Trying to, get that team to the championship. But yeah, I mean, this is, and you look at from where they came from, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he has a similar talent to Garrett. Might even, honestly, I might give Garrett the edge in talent there. So you've seen that, they have been able to do that successfully. And of course, the running backs, we don't have to say too much about that. So, yeah, I like the answer. And if you are optimistic and you want to say, okay, well, they said it before, but now this is a different guy saying it. They're about to go about it a different way. I can see that. Like, yeah, that checks out.
Any final thoughts on Engstrand before we jump over to Steve Wilks?
He doesn't look like a complete buffoon, so that's good. Yeah, that's good. And it seems like he has a plan.
which again has to be half the battle, I would assume. All right, let's go to this next one. So, okay, I was saying this one for a while. I want to make sure that I have the right clip here. So there was again a interesting exchange during the. I don't want to use the word testy. I don't want to use the word fiery. I'll allow you guys to interpret. But you're going to hear Rich Cimini, our good old friend of ESPN, ask Steve Wilks a question. And in the middle of his question, Steve Wilks stops him and says, "Excuse me?" And then Rich Cimini continues with his question. And then there's an answer. And Sauce Gardner, the official account, in the middle of the show, reposted this clip to his Twitter. And I'm curious what it all means. So without further ado, here we go.
With Sauce, they've been predominantly a zone team the last few years. With his unique skill set because of his length, how would he translate? Everyone's presuming he'll probably play more man this year.
Why are they presuming that?
Well, AG is a man coach.
Okay.
I think you've done a lot of blitzing in your past, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
If that comes to be, how could he make that? What would that transition be like for him?
As I mentioned earlier, man, he's smart. He sees it from a different lens. I was just talking to our in-house people upstairs and explaining this, that very highly intelligent, understands the game. So I think he would be able to transition well from a standpoint of man, zone, whatever we're trying to do. We always emphasize in the defensive room our weapons, eyes, hands, hips, and feet, regardless of the call. That's what we got to perfect, and he does a great job of that. And I think everything is predicated off our opponents. Each week it may be a little different, zone eyes, getting the ball out quick, making plays on the ball, being physical at the line of scrimmage, trying to take certain guys away, tighten things up so the D-line can get there. So it's going to fluctuate in how we play.
All right, Wudi, I want your interpretation of that. So I'm going to just boil it down. Rich Cimini goes, obviously you guys are running man this year. And Steve Wilks goes, we are? And then, okay. Anywho, here's your answer to your question, because Sauce had been under the Salah scheme, predominantly a zone corner, although they sort of manned up on some third down. So there's combo stuff. It's not black and white, but for the most part, that's what it was. And now a lot of people assume with Steve Wilks, his blitzing and everything else with AG, that would flip all to man. What do you make of Steve Wilks doing that? Is he just fucking around with Rich Cimini, or are we assuming incorrectly things that are going to be going on with this defense?
I think they got the bullseye on Cimini, man. Every single time he's asking a question, somebody's snapping back. I would like to hope that it means that they're open to exotic coverages, because that's what you got to do in today's NFL. Like you just said, it's predominantly zone, but when they had to change it, when they had to flip it, they did. So I think that's kind of, what Wilks was saying. Steve will let me put some respect on his name before he come after me. When defensive coach DC, Mr. Wilks, what he was saying was that don't pigeonhole us like that. We're gonna be doing a lot of things, but then I loved his answer about Sauce specifically, and those are the things that I loved about Sauce. We're talking about those weapons. That's what I've seen in Sauce. So it's a great, clip for him to retweet, to see that, his coaches got his back, and they pretty much, like to Tanner Engstrand's point, left no doubt really of what they mean and the confidence they have in their guys. And I think, and I hate to, attack Salah from beyond. He's doing his own thing back in San Fran. But, I do think based on what I've seen from the Salah regime, he probably would have stopped short of, the specifics of why he thinks that Sauce would translate. He would just be like, Sauce is a great player. He's exceptional player. He would be great no matter what we do. But Steve Wilks broke down, these are the tools that he has that would make him good no matter, what we do. So from a player standpoint, that's a great way to win a guy over who, is completely in flux. I know a lot of emphasis is on, oh, you need to impress these new coaches. But in some respects, these new coaches have to impress the players. If Garrett didn't like what was happening, he could just be like, I'm out. And Sauce is in a very, very, very similar boat. So it seems like on the two-way street, they're both impressing each other.
Yeah, we won't play this full clip. I'll just read you the quote, but it feeds into what I was about to say on the Salah thing. Is Steve Wilks said this, and this was my sarcastic, wow, did you hear about this new strategy Steve Wilks and Aaron Glenn are going to employ? It was this quote. This is what Steve Wilks said. We're going to make sure that we cater to our players. Who do you have? What do they do? Put them in the best position to succeed. And obviously, every coach should be doing that. But if we go to a Salah thing, because Wudi loves pissing on him when he's gone, is that I watched a Jets-Bills game, and the Bills said, oh, Sauce is on one side of the field. Hey, Stefan, go to the other side. And he went, doot, 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 and trotted over there. Sauce didn't follow him. And I can't remember the corner he was on. So, it wasn't Michael Carter II. It was pre-DJ Reach. I don't know who the corner was there that was there that I'm not thinking of. But either way, so whoever or an injury and maybe DJ Reed wasn't in the game, whatever it was. So there was a corner, and Stephon Diggs pistol whipped whoever that corner was all the way down the field at the end of the first half. It was a Jets-Bills game I went to. And then we go to the post game and like, Salah, what the hell, man? Sauce is your best corner. Why wouldn't he follow Stephon Diggs over there? The Bills clearly did that to avoid Sauce, and he went like, that's not what we do in this defense. And a lot of fans got frustrated, like, dude, you got to adapt, man. You can't just say, I'm sorry, square peg, round hole, can't do it, won't do it. Sorry, that's how it works. And that's something that used to piss me off. So to hear stuff like this from Wilks, again, we're in honeymoon mode. There's really, unless Wilks just says something dumb that we're all going to make fun of, like, for the most part, you can do real no wrong here. But I like those answers because seeing some of the problems of the previous regime, that's something that used to piss me off.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am not going to attack the previous defense too much, if at all, because I think it was a benefit to have it set up how they set it up. And we saw very quickly once he was gone and Old Brick was out here, sharing people's phone numbers with his son, the team fell apart, So, and now you guys literally turned down Sauce and, feel like he took a step back. But I really feel like the defense that they were playing was very DB friendly. I can't really get on Salah too much. But coach speak was definitely one of his worst things. And that's, I guess, ultimately what you just shared was, him just just saying something, just so I can definitely agree with that. But it definitely seems like, Mr. Wilks has the blueprint, and we're gonna abide to it.
Now I have I was gonna show, yeah, sure. I think these will come up. All right, let me try to shift the camera here. All right. Let's see. Oh, let me try to see. We're moving some stuff over here. Oh, you like that Knicks? I forgot that was right there. That's a good point. So we keep moving. A lot of Knicks. Oh, look at all that Knicks over there. Okay.
Yes,
Here we go.
yes.
Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving.
Bing bong.
Sorry. Yeah, the Jets are on the other side of the room. But the thing I was trying to show you is, all right. So you guys see all these trophies over here, right? I love trophies. Trophies are great. My name's actually on a lot of those trophies. Weird flex. Anywho, but bringing that back over, I brought up the trophies just because, as I'm carefully moving my entire setup here, I'm trying to be very careful. There we go. Very nice. Go New York. Go New York. Go. There you go. But I see Mahar Khalil has crowned us if you want to crown the rest, crown us the #1 3 p.m. show of all time. If there is an award for such a thing, thank you for submitting us to it. Appreciate it. And Sharon calling us some afternoon delight. If either any of you or my fiance calls me that, I'm feeling pretty good. So blessed be. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I saw that as well. Was definitely gonna shout it out that I definitely appreciate that. Boy Green, he out here bringing the sauce. 3 p.m. You already know we out here. We're gonna talk about it and exactly how we see it. All right, exactly how we see it. If we see a spade, we call it a spade. We're not gonna tell you something that we don't believe in. So if I believe Rocky is a great sports movie, I'm gonna say it. And when I'm corrected, I accept the correction because it is indeed a love story.
Yeah, and just to clarify, this is my house, people. So people thinking that it may be a Taekwondo trophy or something. I don't bring that. Would be a very weird thing to say. Hey, everybody! I'm here at the radio station. Have you seen all the cool martial arts awards I've won? Those are fantasy football trophies, and one of them has a horse's ass on it. And proudly, by the way, very proudly, that my name's on several of those trophies. So, this is not my house. This is a radio station. So those are all fantasy football trophies for a radio show. But
no squirrels in there. There's no squirrels at the radio
hopefully
station.
Not. Got to check every corner. I don't believe the only squirrel is me because I've gotten some of those with the beaver teeth. I get that made fun of all the time. Which there was a Packers fan. I don't think he's in our chat anymore now that Rodgers has moved on, sort of like BMAC. But he used to come in here and say, "Hey, look, it's Bucktooth Boy Green." I went, "Jesus!" I'm like, "Good Lord!" And like every video, he was just very consistent with it, and I was just sort of impressed. He's like, "Hey, Jaggletooth," and I was like, "Good night," like a dinosaur or something. I was like, "Jesus, man." I appreciate the consistency every time. Like, you just beat me over the head, and yeah, old Beaver. I can't even say it. Beaver. See, that's probably part of the problem. As the air's kind of going through my teeth. Beaver. There you go. Bucky Beaver. I got to work on my bees. Got to work on my bees. Okay.
It's all good. All good. We love you as is, Boy Green.
Thank you.
Trophies and all.
Sure.
I mean, right now, right? But we still got some. There are still some quotes that obviously stay tuned because obviously you already know Boy Green's about to break them down. Go to Take Flight Talk. I might be breaking some down. Okay, but at this point, the Knicks. My God, I just need them to come on, one game at a time. I'm not talking about games. I'm not talking about nothing. I'm talking about Game 5, Madison Square Garden. Just need one.
Yeah, I won't play this clip, but I'll just say it. And there's one last one from Wilks. So if you guys missed it earlier in the offseason when Aaron Glenn got hired, one of the things he said is experience was very important on his staff, and he wanted someone who was a former head coach. He said, I've never done it before, and having someone to bounce things off of will be very important. He ends up hiring Steve Wilks, who was a former NFL head coach at one point. And this line just hit me. I was like, damn, because Steve Wilks' head coaching experience did not go well, obviously, or maybe not obviously for people who do not know. And here was a quote that he hit me with, and I just heard it and went, oh, wow. And it was this. Sometimes in that seat, man, this is Steve Wilks talking about being a head coach, it gets lonely. You don't have that sounding piece, that individual that you can communicate and speak with. And he just talked about, being lonely in that seat, and no one understands that seat. And it goes beyond football. You have to make decisions for the building. There's more than football decisions. And when you're and now I'm paraphrasing, but basically, like when you're in that dark place with stuff, like that's some difficult, crap to filter through. And he says, I'm loving that I'm going to be in this position wherever, anytime AG needs anything, he can lean on me and I can help him through any of the mistakes I made and hopefully prevent him from making those. So it's just a powerful stuff because, being an NFL head coach, whether you're it for an interim status for a day or you get a year on the job or whatever, it's a great honor, man. There's only 32 of these jobs in the world, and Steve Wilks has held that twice. I believe that's Cardinals and Panthers when he was the interim, and the interim Carolina job, I'm pretty sure was fired like at the beginning of the season. If I remember correctly, that was Frank Reich, and then Wilks ran it out for the rest of the year, and he got like 10, 11, 12 games or something crazy. So he got 2 opportunities. Now that's what it's been. But that was pretty cool, too. So I wanted to give a salute out to Wilks, sharing that vulnerable moment for him of being a head coach. That's cool that he's going to be able to share that with Coach.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to when we were first talking about the head coach search, which I guess actually was a super long time ago because they fired the coach week 5. But I shared a quote from Bill Belichick, who – a lot of people would say is one of the better head coaches in the history of the game. Sure. And he said that the jump from a coordinator to head coach is huge. And he had no idea what to expect. and it was, he failed in Cleveland, and it was because of the different responsibilities that don't even cross your mind as a coordinator, but are now things that he is solely responsible for. So that was a huge reason. And at that time, I played that clip. I actually played the clip on the show, and we looked at it, and that was a big reason why I wanted a former head coach for this job. But to not get one, but have someone who has the awareness of what Belichick said, is pretty good. I would say that's pretty good, and he chose a good one in Steve Wilks, who seems self-aware enough to realize, hey, this is where I could have been better. And I think that's a tremendous thing for AG that clearly almost all of our previous head coaches did not have.
That's for sure. Two things here. First off, Luca, BG, when does mandatory minicamp starts at June 20th? No. Mandatory minicamp is the 10th through the 12th. It's a 3-day minicamp. So again, if anyone's making any Egyptian adventures, note that on your itinerary. We have OTAs going on right now. We have OTAs next week, and the week after that is mandatory minicamp, and boom, that's the big gap until training camp. So it's earlier than that. June 20th, a whole lot of nothing will be happening at that point. June 10th to the 20th. Number two, Wudi, you got an Instagram question. I wanted to throw it over to you, if that's all right. Okay. Here it is. And the question is from the 5095 account on Instagram. Do you think the Cleveland Browns will win over the Cincinnati Bengals on September 7th?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah, not really sure why this was the place for said question, but you know what? I don't hate the fans, man. You guys got questions, I'll answer them. I'll say yes. Yeah. Cleveland actually has Cincinnati's number. If you look at the series history, Cleveland actually has the number of the Bengals. Now, who the hell's playing quarterback? Joe Flacco? Shadur Sanders? Dylan Gabriel? Kenny Pickett? I don't know, which maybe leaning towards the old Bengals, Joe Burrow. They could be leaning their side for potentially winning that game, but I appreciate the question. Again, Instagram account, the 5095. Thank you for choosing Boy Green Meets Wudi for all of your Bengals Browns questions. Well, that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Yes. Well, definitely appreciate everybody's time. Another tremendous episode in the books. We'll still be talking. But again, like I said before, haven't stopped thinking about them since I just said it. Let's go, Knicks.
Yeah, wait. Here it is. Bing bong. Bing
there it
bong.
is.
There you go. Go New York, go New York, go. Hopefully we're on Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning. Hopefully there's still playoffs to be played in the conference finals. We'll let you know. All right, everybody, God bless. Take care. Before you go, make sure you guys show your support. We got 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute if you're watching on YouTube, whether that's my YouTube channel or Wudi's Take Flight Talk. Make sure you guys show your support. Please do that. That's a free way to show love to the show. I love it when people are dropping memberships and all that, super chats and stuff like that. But again, free way to contribute. Never forget it, people. That is liking the video and hitting subscribe. Thanks, everybody, for showing your support. And, hey, we'll be seeing you. Go New York. Go New York.
Go.